What if I told you the biggest reason you're going home empty-handed has nothing to do with your lure, your line, or your fancy electronics? What if the mistake happens before you even drill the first hole? Today, we are talking about your shadow. Yes, your shadow, and we're going to uncover why it might be the most effective fish repellent you're using without even realizing it. Stick with me and I'll not only show you the proof, but, more importantly, how to fix this common problem. This could completely change your results this winter. So let me ask you right now, do you think a simple shadow can really spook a fish under a foot of ice and snow? Let me know in the comments. I have a feeling some of you are going to be surprised. For years, we've all been taught to focus on the same things in ice fishing. We obsess over the latest flasher, the hottest new lure, the perfect rod and reel combination. We spend hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on gear, believing that the next purchase is the key to success. It's a habit. We do what we've always done, what the old-timers taught us. But in that process, we often ignore the most fundamental element of all, our own presence. We forget that we are intruders in the fish's world. This video is about that blind spot. It's about the noise and the shadows we create and how the fish see us not as fishermen but as giant predators from above. And understanding that is more important than any piece of gear you can buy. First things first, let's get into the mind of a fish. A fish, whether it's a perch, a walleye, or a trout, is a prey animal. Its entire existence is built around one simple principle: eat and avoid being eaten. Their senses are fine-tuned to detect danger from every angle, but especially from above. In their world, death often comes from the sky. Think about birds like ospreys, eagles, or herons. For millions of years, a dark shape moving overhead has meant one thing: imminent danger. This instinct is hardwired into their DNA. It's not something they think about. It's a pure, instantaneous reaction. When they detect that threat, they don't wait around to see what it is. They bolt for the nearest cover, and they won't come out until the threat is long gone. This is the foundation for everything we are about to discuss. So, how does a fish even see your shadow through the ice? It all comes down to light penetration. You might think that a foot of ice, maybe covered with 6 inches of snow, creates a dark, safe ceiling for the fish. But that's not how it works. Ice, even cloudy ice, allows a surprising amount of ambient light to pass through. And snow is not a blackout curtain. It acts more like a diffuser in a photography studio. It scatters the light, making the world under the ice a little dimmer, a little softer, but certainly not pitch black. A fish's eyes are incredibly well adapted to low light conditions. They can easily detect subtle changes in the light filtering down from above. Your body, walking across the ice, is a large, solid object blocking that light. That creates a distinct, moving shadow. Now let's consider a fish's field of vision. Most fish have eyes on the sides of their head, which gives them a nearly 360-degree view of their surroundings. More importantly, their eyes are almost always looking up. This is a survival mechanism. It allows them to spot predators silhouetted against the brighter surface water and sky. Under the ice, this is even more pronounced. The ice surface is their sky. Any change in the light pattern on that ceiling is immediately noticed. A large, dark shape that moves across this ceiling is the single biggest red flag in their environment. It's an unnatural and threatening event. It's the equivalent of you seeing the shadow of a giant bird pass over your backyard. Your first instinct would be to look up and be on alert. A fish's instinct is simply to flee. Picture this common scenario. It's early morning, the sun is low, and you're walking out to your favorite spot. The air is still, it's quiet, you're excited. You get to your spot, and without thinking, you walk right over the area you plan to fish. As you do, your long morning shadow sweeps across the ice like the hand of a clock. To you, it's just a shadow, but to the school of perch or the cruising walleye sitting just a few feet below, it's a massive predator passing directly overhead. You haven't even drilled a hole yet, you haven't made a sound, but you've already sent a clear signal of danger. You've just alerted every fish within a 20-foot radius that a threat is present. They are now on high alert, or more likely, they have already moved off the spot and are seeking safety in deeper water or thicker cover. Let's stick with that predator analogy because it's the most important concept to grasp. Your shadow is not just a patch of darkness. To a fish, it is the unmistakable silhouette of a threat. A great blue heron wading in the shallows casts a shadow. An osprey circling overhead casts a shadow. A mink or an otter running across the ice casts a shadow. These are all natural predators that fish have evolved to fear. Your body, your sled, your gear, they all create large, dark shapes that mimic these predators. The fish doesn't have the ability to reason that you're just a harmless angler. All it registers is large, moving, dark shape from above equals danger. This triggers a fight or flight response, and since a fish can't fight you, it chooses flight every single time. This is pure, raw instinct. The effect is most obvious and dramatic on clear, black ice with no snow cover. This is a situation many of us love to fish, but it requires the most stealth. On clear ice, it's literally like the fish are under a giant window. They can see your silhouette with incredible clarity. Walking upright on clear ice is the equivalent of standing on a glass coffee table while the fish are sitting on the floor below. They can see every move you make. In this scenario, your shadow is dark, sharp, and terrifying. It's no longer just a change in ambient light. It's a defined shape of a potential killer. I have personally watched on an underwater camera as a school of crappies instantly dispersed the moment my shadow passed over the hole. It's a real, observable phenomenon that costs anglers countless fish. But what about the opposite scenario? What about ice with a thick blanket of snow? This is where many fishermen get a false sense of security. The common belief is that a good layer of snow makes you completely invisible. It's a comforting thought, but unfortunately, it's a myth. While snow does a great job of hiding your exact silhouette, it does not eliminate the shadow. Remember, the snow acts as a diffuser. The light underneath is soft and even. When you, a large object, move over an area, you block that light. The area below you becomes noticeably darker. It's not a sharp-edged shadow, but a large, moving patch of dimness. Fish are experts at detecting these subtle shifts. It's still an unnatural event that signals something big is moving around on the surface. Think of it this way. Imagine you're in a room with a frosted glass ceiling with bright lights above it. The light in the room is soft and even. If someone walks across that frosted glass ceiling, you wouldn't be able to see their face or their clothes, but you would absolutely see a large, dark shape moving across it. You would know instantly that someone is up there. That is exactly what a fish experiences under snow-covered ice. The snow cover helps. It's better than clear ice, but it does not make you invisible. The threat detection is still there. The shadow, even if it's soft and undefined, is still a powerful signal to the fish that something is wrong. That change in their environment is enough to make wary fish cautious or send spooky fish running for the hills. Now let's add another critical factor into the mix: vibration. Your shadow is often the first warning, but your footsteps are the second. It's a devastating 1-2 punch. Ice is incredibly effective at transmitting vibrations. Every step you take, especially with heavy boots and cleats, sends shockwaves down through the ice and into the water. Fish detect these vibrations through their lateral line, a highly sensitive organ that runs along their sides. To them, the clumsy thud of a human footstep is like an earthquake. So imagine the sequence from the fish's perspective. First, they see a massive shadow pass over them, signaling a predator from the sky. A second later, they feel the jarring, unnatural vibrations of that predator's movements. This confirms their worst fears. It's an all-out assault on their senses. Let's walk through a typical but flawed approach. An angler drives their ATV or snowmobile close to the spot, sending massive vibrations through the ice. They get off, walk heavily right over the prime fishing area, their shadows sweeping across it. They drop their heavy gear sled with a thud. Then they fire up a loud power auger and drill 3 or 4 holes in quick succession. From a fish's point of view, this is an apocalypse. It's a coordinated attack of terrifying shadows, ground-shaking tremors, and deafening noise. Any fish that was in that area is now long gone. The angler then sits down, drops a line, and wonders why their fancy sonar is completely blank. They blame the weather, the barometric pressure, or their bait, but the truth is they scared every fish away before they even started fishing. Water depth plays a huge role in how much your shadow matters. This is most critical in shallow water, which I would define as anything less than 15 feet. In 5 to 10 feet of water, your presence on the surface is extremely pronounced. The fish are physically closer to you, the shadow you cast is larger and darker from their perspective, and the vibrations from your footsteps are much stronger. This is especially true when targeting species like panfish or perch that often feed in shallow weed beds early in the season. These fish are constantly on the lookout for predators, and they are notoriously spooky. If you're fishing shallow, you absolutely must approach it with the mindset of a hunter stalking prey. Every single movement matters. Walking carelessly over a shallow flat is a surefire way to ruin it for the next hour. So does this mean you don't have to worry in deep water? Not exactly. While the effect is certainly diminished, it's not gone entirely. If you're fishing for walleye or lake trout in 30, 40, or even 50 feet of water, the fish on the bottom are less likely to be concerned with your shadow. The light change is minimal at that depth. However, we often forget about suspended fish. Species like crappie or even walleye will often suspend 10 to 20 feet down, even over very deep water. Those suspended fish are in a much more vulnerable position. They are high up in the water column and are just as susceptible to overhead shadows as fish in shallow water. So even if your target depth is deep, the fish you're trying to catch might be suspended much higher, right in that shadow danger zone. All right, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. How do you stop your shadow from ruining your fishing trip? The first and most important step is to simply be aware of it. You need to start thinking about the position of the sun the moment you step onto the ice. Your goal should always be to keep the sun at your back or to your side when approaching your spot. This seems counterintuitive, as many people think they should face the sun to avoid casting a shadow forward. But think about it. If the sun is in front of you, your shadow is cast far out behind you, away from the area you are about to fish. You are essentially pushing your shadow away from your target zone. This small change in your path of approach can make a world of difference. Let me paint a clearer picture of that approach. Let's say your spot is to the north, and the sun is rising in the east. Instead of walking directly north, you should walk in an arc, keeping the sun on your right side. This will cast your shadow off to the west, away from your fishing holes. If the sun is high overhead around noon, your shadow will be small and directly beneath you, which is the easiest time to manage it. The most difficult times are early morning and late afternoon when the sun is low and your shadow is incredibly long. During these key bite windows, you have to be extra conscious of where that long shadow is falling. Always approach your spot from a direction that keeps your shadow from passing over it first. Once you've reached your spot without casting your shadow over it, the next step is to maintain a low profile. Standing and walking around your holes is a bad habit. A standing person creates a large, tall, and highly visible silhouette that casts a long, moving shadow. The solution is simple. Get down. As soon as you've drilled your holes, get your gear set, and then sit on your bucket or your sled. Even better, kneel on the ice when you're jigging or retying a lure. By reducing your vertical profile, you drastically reduce the size and reach of your shadow. You also present a less threatening shape to any fish that might be looking up. Think small, think low. The less of a presence you are on the surface, the more comfortable the fish will be below. This low-profile mindset should extend to your gear as well. We often walk up to a spot and just dump everything on the ice. A big, black gear sled, a dark auger, a propane tank. Each of these items casts its own shadow. Instead of creating a cluttered mess right next to your hole, try to be more organized and strategic. Keep the bulk of your gear a short distance away from the holes you are actively fishing. Place it in a position where its shadow is falling away from your target area. A single, small hole in the ice is a natural feature, but a hole surrounded by a jumble of large, dark, unnatural objects is a red flag. Keep your fishing area clean and minimalistic. It's not just about being tidy, it's about stealth. Let's talk about the common practice of hole hopping to find active fish. This is a great tactic, but most people do it all wrong. They'll fish a hole for 5 minutes, get impatient, then stand up and stomp over to the next hole 10 feet away. In doing so, they cast their shadow and send vibrations over every single hole in their pattern. They are effectively spooking the fish from the next hole before they even get a chance to fish it. This is a cycle of self-sabotage. You are constantly chasing fish that you yourself are scaring away. It's a frustrating and exhausting way to fish, and it rarely leads to success, especially with finicky panfish. There is a much, much better way to do it. The right way to hole hop is to treat the entire area as a stealth zone. Instead of walking directly from hole to hole, take a wider path. Walk in a semicircle around your pattern, staying 10 to 15 feet away from the holes you plan to fish next. Move slowly and deliberately. Don't shuffle your feet or make heavy, thudding steps. When you get to the next hole, don't stand over it. Kneel or sit as you lower your transducer and your lure. By staying off to the side and maintaining that low profile, you can fish each hole effectively without alerting the fish in the neighboring holes. It takes a little more time and a little more effort, but the payoff is that you are fishing for relaxed, undisturbed fish, not spooked ones. What about fishing inside an ice shanty or a hub-style shelter? Many anglers believe that once they're inside the tent, they are completely hidden and can do whatever they want. This gives them a false sense of security. While the shanty does hide your specific movements, the shelter itself casts a massive shadow. It's a huge, dark rectangle on the ice that wasn't there an hour ago. For fish, this is a major change to their environment. It's like a spaceship just landed on their ceiling. Furthermore, everything is amplified inside a shelter. Dropping a pair of pliers on the floor sounds like a gunshot to the fish below. The vibrations are trapped and channeled directly down into the water. You still need to be quiet and mindful of your movements, even inside a shelter. Ultimately, all of this boils down to one single, powerful shift in your mindset. You have to stop thinking of yourself as someone who is just on the ice and start thinking of yourself as someone who is in the fish's environment. You have to develop a hunter's instinct. Be stealthy, be deliberate. Pay attention to the sun, to the snow conditions, to the noise you make. Every action you take on the surface has a direct consequence below. The anglers who consistently catch more fish than others aren't always the ones with the most expensive gear. They are the ones who have mastered the art of stealth. They understand that the game is won or lost before their line even gets wet. It's a fundamental change in approach that will pay dividends for the rest of your ice fishing career. So let's wrap this up. We've talked about how a fish's instinct makes it fear shadows, how light and vibration travel through the ice, and how your every move on the surface can be the reason you're not getting bites. The most important, but at a Poverot moment, the real turning point, is the realization that your success doesn't start when you drop your lure. It starts the moment you step out of your truck. It's not about buying a new magical lure. It's about fundamentally changing your approach. It's about becoming a quieter, stealthier, and more observant angler. This one shift in thinking from just being a fisherman to being a predator can have a bigger impact on your catch rate than any piece of equipment you will ever buy. Thank you so much for watching and for taking the time to think about this. I truly believe it can change your winter. If this helped you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that goes beyond the obvious. And now I want to hear from you. What's the one stealth tip you swear by on the ice? Share it in the comments below, and let's all learn from each other.